So today I'm going to introduce sets, which are a part of the Java collections framework. And we already saw lists. They're a part of the Java collection framework also, particularly the array list we went over. But there are some differences. They're both used for storing data, but the differences are often used in interview questions and in practice also. All right, so I have my project 18. I have a package. I have a class. In the class, I have a main method. All right, and I'm going to paste these three things that I think you should know as differences in lists and sets. So the main differences between sets and lists: sets do not allow duplicate elements. That's probably the biggest thing right there. And lists do allow duplicates. Lists maintain insertion order while sets are unordered. In general, sets are unordered. You will see that the linked hash set does maintain order, but that's kind of a fluke. Typically, sets unordered. And there's no positional access in sets in Java. You can't do a get on the third element. And that makes sense because the whole insertion order thing, you might not know what the third, well, you definitely won't know what the third element is unless you're using a linked hash set. So let's go ahead and get some data and do some stuff with it. I'm going to make a string, and I'll say this is a bunch of strings, and this has one duplicate. I'll say word. There we go. So we have this string here. We have a bunch of words in a string, and let's split them up. Let's make a string array. All right, so str array equals str, split. We'll split on the space. All right, now I have this array. It's split up. All these words are in order, split within this array. Let's make a list and a set, add the elements one by one, and see what the differences are in the outputs, in the end results. So I'll make a set, and it's going to be strings. I'll call it set, new, and I'll make a hash set. Open, close, there we go. Control Shift O, import it, and let's make a list of strings, list equals new array list. All right, now let's add all of our elements. Oops, let me do a Control Shift O to import my list, and I need a Java utils list. All right, so we'll go through our string array. We'll do this for each loop. For string s colon str array, and we'll add an element to the list, and we'll add an element to the set. Let's go down here, and let's print them out. So we'll say sys out, control space, and I'll say list. Put the list first. Sys out, control space, set. All right, let's see what we got. They should be a little bit different, right? Because we don't have duplicates, and we have a duplicate word. That's the duplicate word. So this is in order. This is a bunch of strings, and this has one duplicate word, all right? This is not in order, and the duplicate is gone. There's only one occurrence of this. All right, so we showed that. If people say, hey, how do you make sure you have a collection of unique elements? Think set. Don't think list. Think set. All right, let's do this. Let's make this. I'll show you the quirky linked hash set. It does maintain order. Control Shift O, but it does keep out the duplicate. There we go. Duplicate is gone, right? Right between that and has, there's no this. All right, so that's pretty good. But what happens if we have some custom data, right? How does that work? Let's go to our package, right click, new, class, my data. There we go. And I'll give it, let's give it a private int ID, private string name, and we'll give it a constructor. Let's see, generate constructor using fields. There we go. Put a space in here for readability. And I'm going to put my getters and setters in here. Source, getters and setters. Select those, generate. And we need a toString for printing things out. Source, generate toString. And there we go. So let's make a set. Say set my data, a set of my data. Call it set2, new, HashSet. And we'll do a Control-Shift-O because we lost our import for our HashSet when we changed it to LinkedHashSet. Let's add a couple elements. New, my data, 1 and Pete. There we go. ID of 1 and name of Pete. And just copy this, Control-C, Control-D, and we got a couple of elements. I'm going to change the second one only. I'm going to make the ID 2. I'm going to make the name Jim. So we have a duplicate element. All right. So as is, when we run this, oh, we got to print it out. Hold on. Sys out. Set2. There we go. Now let's run it. We have our duplicate here. Why did it allow a duplicate to be added? Well, it's in your custom class. You have to go to your custom class, see my data, and you have to generate source, hash code, and equals. Both have to be added. So the equals, you can look at this and it checks in great depth to make sure that the two classes or the two objects are in fact equal, right? It checks every field, it checks whether the class is the same, checks whether it's null and one's not. But you also need this hash code, which generates a number based on these different fields. So you have your ID and your name. And if you get rid of one of these, Control-7, and you still have your equals, is not sufficient. See, I still had a duplicate, right? I'll bring this back, Control-7, Control-S to save, run it. Look at that. No more duplicate. Likewise, on the equal, you need that too. So you need both. Control-7, run, and yeah, we got our duplicate back. So you need an equals and you need a hash code. Those two things will ensure duplicate custom objects don't get inserted into your list or into your set. To your list, it doesn't matter, right? Because they can have dupes. But for here, and here we go. We'll just go ahead and change it a little bit. And now we're fine with that, but it's not in order. Alrighty, so hopefully you know a little bit about sets, and as opposed to the list, they both store data, but sets, most important thing, no dupes, right? No duplicate elements. And you need the hash code and you need the equals if you're going to use your own custom class for objects. All right, I will see you in the next video.